everyone, and welcome back to my channel Muse Allures, and we are here in the parenting section. I hope you have seen our previous video on child sexual abuse, a very important video, and I've shared a lot of good information in that video. If you haven't checked out that video yet, I urge you to go back to the playlist and see that video. In this video, we are going to today talk about another important topic, temper tantrums. Raise your hand if you've had a toddler throwing a temper tantrum in the middle of the grocery shopping or in the middle of the mall. Yes, I think we all have gone through it, and not just once, but we go through those things repeatedly, and it's so much of a hassle going through such a situation. And when you don't have a child and you look at that episode when you're in a public place, you're like, when I'm a mom, my child would never do that. When I'm a mom, I make sure that this does not happen with my child. I'll discipline them properly, or I'll make sure that I love them enough that they would never do such a thing. But trust me, no matter how good or bad parent you are, this will happen more than once in your life. And so today we are going to discuss about tips to prevent temper tantrums, and what as parents could we do so that this does not happen. Okay, so usually temper tantrums don't happen in the house. They almost always happen in public places where somehow kids just know the right time to embarrass us as parents and just show the entire world how bad of a parenting job we do. This has happened with me, and I'm sure it has happened with you. And let's just talk about things. So the easiest way to stop a screaming child is to give whatever he or she is demanding. Yes, that is the best way to stop your child from screaming, but trust me, in the long run, you are not doing good to your child. So it's very important for you to stick to your guns and just ignore that tantrum. Just ignore it. And I'll tell you some other techniques as to how to deal with a toddler throwing a temper tantrum. But the most important thing is ignore, and at the same time, validate his or her feeling. Don't just say, hey, whatever, I'm not gonna even look at you, and doesn't affect me. If you do that at times when your child is very sensitive or has a high emotional quotient, which these days your kids do have, it just becomes a vicious cycle, and then you get mad, you get upset, your child continues screaming, and everything is a disaster. It's very important for you as a parent at that time to just keep your calm, keep your cool. Do not raise your voice. Do not have a scary face. Do not threaten your child. Do not raise your eyebrows. Just be calm and be composed. For you, take a deep breath, not just one. Take as many deep breaths as you can. Just ignore the screaming and yelling. It's okay if other parents are looking at you in a judgmental way. It's okay. Let them judge. You are doing what's best for your child. Do not give that toy in your child's hand. Keep calm. Go sit next to your child. Let the child scream. Ask, are you feeling frustrated? Are you angry? Are you upset? And the child will most likely start talking. Explain to the child, screaming is not going to do you any good, because mommy doesn't understand what you really want. If the child tells you, okay, my screaming is because of the fact that you're not letting me buy this toy, explain, talk to them, validate, say, yes, I understand that you are very upset and you are very angry, and you should be, because mommy is not doing what you want me to do. And say this, sometimes that happens. Sometimes mommy cannot do whatever you want her to do at that time. Maybe it's not the right time. Maybe we have somewhere else to go. Maybe we do not have those many dollars or that amount of money to buy what you're asking. And maybe let's start saving and save it in your piggy bank, and let's come back and get to it. Trust me, all of this explanation, whatever comes to your mind, whatever whatever suits the occasion, it's very important for you to discuss it with your child. Don't just start being judgmental about your child's temper tantrum. Don't just start accusing your child publicly, and don't start shaming your child publicly. Validate his or her thoughts. Understand or tell the child that you understand that you're upset and angry, and it's valid. Yes, you should be upset and angry. If you talk to your child in that way, trust me, your child will wait and think. Most of the times we as parents think that we are the boss, and kids do not understand anything, and maybe this is not the right time for them to discuss this, or maybe they don't understand things. No, that's not the case. Children are very understanding. Believe me, trust me, they do understand. It's very important for you to talk things out to them, and be consistent. You cannot be giving them the object that they want in front of friends and family. However, when you are just yourself and in the grocery store or in the shopping mall, that's when you don't give him or her the object. So be consistent. Don't give separate indication to your child. And so goes with your other partner. If there's other guardian involved in the child's care, make sure that you two, or how many number of individuals are there in that equation, make sure everybody is on the same page. For example, grandparents or other family members, everybody needs to follow a set rule when your child throws a temper tantrum. And I know it is hard work, but we got to do this. If the tantrum is not broken at the point where you're sitting and explaining, the other technique you can try is distraction. Just distract them with something, with whatever, a new object, or say if it's December, like it's now, say, hey, I see Santa. Oh, maybe he just left. Let's go and follow him. Let's check him out. And trust me, kids immediately stop that behavior and change from one setting to the other. And in the other months, you could use any other form of distraction. I think Santa works every time. But use some sort of distraction technique. If nothing else, if in a situation, make different facial expressions. Don't laugh at them. That's not what I'm saying. But make funny faces or things that they like. When you're having a good time playing with your kid, and if there's a certain routine that they like my husband talks to my daughter and says, "Dad's big tummy." And then she laughs. So you can use some of those positive things that the child knows and introduce that positive statement during that temper tantrum and see if the tantrum breaks. The other thing you need to make sure is your child should be in a safe place. Don't just abandon your child and go to a different aisle. Sometimes that happens. You're in the grocery shop, you're doing grocery shopping, and child throws a temper tantrum. You say, okay, I'm not looking at you. You do the right thing by ignoring, but you walk out and your eyes are not on your child. Don't ever do that, because who knows, God forbid, your child can get abducted. So don't do that. Be there for the child. Be at a distance, but be there. Try being close to them, talking things out. If that doesn't work, say, okay, I'm going to give you a few minutes, 2 more minutes, and you should be done, and we are getting out of here, or whatever. Give them a time frame. If that doesn't work either, just go give your child a hug and explain to them how much you love them, how much you love him or her. Talk to them about positive memories. Talk to them about something that you just did in the morning that was great, or something that you're anticipating to do. Like, for example, hey, you know what, we're going to have pizza, or we're going to go to Chuck E. Cheese in the evening, so you're getting late, or whatever. Oh, daddy's waiting outside. We need to go and meet him, otherwise he'll get lost. Something that sort, show the affection, show the love towards them. Don't abandon them. Don't be mad, because if you're mad and upset, this cycle will just continue and nobody's going to reach to an end point. The other technique that works is, if the tantrum is not breaking, just hug the child and start explaining the child to breathe and start counting numbers. 1, 2, 3, and talk to them and say, okay, I'm going to count till 10, okay? And you're going to calm down after 10, and we're going to take deep breaths. The child resists, say, it's okay, just do the breathing technique with me now, And you can start crying again after I count 10. Okay, so try that. Just let them take deep breaths. Let them calm down. They need to calm down for, even if it's a tiny amount of time. Let them calm down and just let them relax. Hug them, show them the affection, and show them that you're not leaving them. We are in it together. Say that, we are in it together. Explain to them, I feel sad too. I know you wanted the toy and mommy cannot give it to you right now, and I feel sad too, sweetie. So you say that. So you try and explain those things, that it's okay, I feel the same way too like you do, but we are in this together, and what should I do to make you feel happy other than buying that toy? Is there anything else that I can do to make you happy? What do you want? Do you want to go, I'm not saying bribe them, but I'm saying try and distract them. Try and tell them what you already have plans about. So I'm not saying, okay, it's nighttime, and don't say, hey, let's go have ice cream or dessert, when that's not in your plan. But if there's something else, like, hey, we're going to read this new storybook that I got from the library, or oh, I got the new stuffed toy that I was thinking of playing with you. So something that sort, whatever your child is looking forward to, or you want them to look forward to. So try and distract them by all these techniques. And personally, I've felt using all of these techniques usually worked in my case. And if you haven't tried them, try them. And if you have tried them and they haven't worked, and you're still looking for answers, well, I'm going to talk about some prevention strategies for temper tantrums, because temper tantrums is just one event. There are lots of things that you can do with the kids in parenting in a way that they do not throw those temper tantrums as often as possible. So let's talk about those tips and techniques. Typically what I do and I recommend is make sure that your child is not hungry when you're taking the child out. Let's talk about scenarios when your child throws a temper tantrum outside publicly, okay, not at home. At home it becomes a little easy because you can ignore it for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, an hour, and you still know that your child is safe, and you want to hang on to that, obviously, because there's nobody judging you. But what happens in a public place is you as a parent start feeling pressured to intervene, because you feel that the other parents are judging you. Your kid is rolling on the floor and crying and getting upset, is all red, and you want to do something about it. You want to show to the others that you're a good parent, and not just to others, but to yourself. You don't want that to happen to your child. So at home it's a little easier, but in a public place, if that happens, that's a major problem. So before you go out, make sure you've fed the kid, make sure that is not thirsty, has used the bathroom. You go out. While you're going out, while you're driving, talk to them about the plan. If your plan is to do groceries, you tell them, sweetie, we are just going out to get the groceries, and we're going to follow the list. We are not going to get any gifts for you now, but we will get it for you tomorrow or day after, or whatever you want to say. But tell them the plan, that today is not the day to do it, and if you do, mommy is not going to listen to you. You are not going to get it. Okay, if you want them to earn their gift, then they have to, whatever. If you have a technique, gift per month or gift per week, tell them that okay, you're going to get the gift on the last day of the month, and so let's wait for it. So tell them, communicate with them. That's what I mean. Let them know the plan for the day. Let them make choices. Let them feel that they have the control. Like, for example, let them choose between what outfit to wear. So they already have a sense of feeling that, okay, things are in my control too. If you continue to be the authority, and if you continue to be the boss of the house and hold all the controls in your hand, then that's where the battle starts. So pick your battles. If you want that day outside to be good, give them choices. Let them choose their clothes. Let them choose a book that they want to get in the car to read, or maybe a travel game that they want to get, or maybe a stuffed toy that they want to carry. let them do that. Let them feel in control, because temper tantrum is all about control. The reason why it doesn't break is because the child thinks that I have the control, and the parent wants to show the child that he or she is in control. So it's a battle of control, and that's the problem. So give enough control to your kid before going out in public, and that's one way to prevent temper tantrums publicly. The other thing you can try is try and keep your routine as possible. Sometimes when there is change in routine, that's the time kids just throw temper tantrum, because they are not used to the new situation. So if you're planning something, again, communicate with them and give them a 5-minute or 10-minute warning. Tell them, okay, you're playing right now, but in 10 minutes we have to leave the store. So whatever it is that you're doing, finish it off in 10 minutes and we have to go. So you've told your child that, okay, you have 10 more minutes. If they don't understand the time factor yet, just put an alarm on your phone and say, okay, when the alarm rings, we gotta go, sweetie. So they know that, okay, when the alarm rings, I gotta stop playing, or whatever. If they want to continue playing and you have to leave, I just gave you a scenario where you communicate with them and tell them, okay, you give a warning for that activity to stop, and communicate with them. Also make sure that your child is well rested. If your child has not had good enough sleep, for example, if you're traveling, you're traveling somewhere and you have to wake up early, obviously there is going to be a hassle. So anticipate that and try and be preemptive in those things, and help your child. So obviously if the child has not slept for adequate number of hours, there is a good chance that he or she will throw a temper tantrum. So make sure that you plan things accordingly. If there's a flight option of 5 a.m. versus 11 a.m., take the 11 a.m. flight. Pay those extra $100. It's okay. It's important. You don't have to go through that hassle of temper tantrums. Now, one would say, hey, I'm not going to spend $100 extra just so as to prevent the temper tantrum. I'm not trying to burden you, but I'm just saying, as parents of toddlers, it's important for you to also consider that they are kids. They don't understand these things. If they're not well rested, there is a good chance that they will be upset with the tiniest of things. So understand them is what I'm saying. Understand them and try and make them comfortable as much as possible. Try and incorporate their schedule, their routine into the new routine as much as possible. Try putting away off-limit temptations. Like, for example, if this is the time to have dinner and your child is on the iPad or any sort of iDevices or playing a game, just make sure that it's not there during that time. Just keep it off limits. If you don't want them to have a candy at dinner or just before dinner time, because that will ruin their dinner, make sure you don't have candies lying in your kitchen. So try and plan accordingly, and don't create circumstances where there's a chance that your kid might throw a temper tantrum. So understand your child, understand, anticipate things and act accordingly. One of the most important ways of dealing or preventing temper tantrum is to teach your child how to deal with thoughts of frustration. So at home, when your child is about to throw a temper tantrum or throws a temper tantrum, talk to him or her. Talk to him or her about how to deal with frustration. Understand. Do all those techniques that I talked to you about, the one episode I talked about the grocery store. Do that at home. Explain to them, talk things out, and show them different ways to deal with frustration. Like, for example, if the child gets frustrated, starts throwing a temper tantrum, say, hey, instead of this, if you're feeling frustrated, try counting till 10, or try talking to me, or try saying, mommy, is it okay if I buy this now? And if mommy says no, ask mommy, can I get it someday? Can I do something so that I can get that toy? Or whatever, more extra time for games. So pick your battles. If you explain to them that way, that, okay, sweetie, you want the iPad, but it's dinner time now. I promise you 10 extra minutes of iPad time after dinner. okay, but that will affect your story time. So obviously if they love story time or art or whatever that they love, they will then immediately understand. You know, it's like a give and take relationship. So I'm not saying take away the entire activity, because that's a bad thing to do. Don't take things away from your child that they really like for example, if they love art, you don't say, okay, you watch the iPad now, no more art for you today. No, that's a complete no-no. But just say, hey, instead of 30 minutes of art activity, you might have to forego 10 minutes out of those because you want the iPad. So teach them that, you know, show them how to deal with their frustration, show them how to deal with it. Anger, frustration, all your negative emotions. Some kids manifest them as screaming, yelling, biting, hitting parents. I've seen so many kids hitting parents. And if you just sit down and explain to your child that, are you upset and angry? Okay, then you don't do this. You don't hit your mommy or daddy, or you don't hit anybody else if you're mad, but you talk about it. You say, if you're hitting a child, or if you're angry about what the child has done, you go and say, hey, I did not like it. If your mommy didn't do something good, go and say, hey mommy, I didn't like it, and then mommy will say sorry. So make sure you teach that as well. You know, you make sure that you teach your children that it's okay for adults as well to apologize, to say sorry. I think in most of the cultures, we teach our kids to respect age and not action, and so it's very important for us to teach that important fact to your child, to respect action, not just the age. If you really did something wrong to your child, go say sorry. It's okay. You know, even if you're a mommy, even if you're daddy, you can be wrong, and it's okay to be wrong. You ask for forgiveness, and the child forgives you, and you're friends together again. So just show it's okay. You don't have to throw a temper tantrum for that. So explain all these things to them, and I think after using all these techniques, I'm if not 100%, I'm at least 99% sure that you will not face another temper tantrum. And if you do face a temper tantrum, you know how to deal with it, and you've been training your child to deal with temper tantrums. So it's a win-win situation. I hope you liked the tips that I shared with you today. Thank you so much for joining in today. Please don't forget to join in next Thursday for some more tips on parenting whenever we talk about parenting. And if there are any certain topics that you want me to discuss, make sure you write them in the comment section below, and I'll surely make videos on them, and we'll try and share our techniques and try to be better parents. So we'll take inspiration from each other, and keep that love coming. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to share these videos on your social media. Thank you. See you next Thursday.